This is Lou Dobbs Tonight. News, debate, and opinion for Tuesday, December 19th. Live in New York, sitting in for Lou Dobbs, Kitty Pilgrim.
Opponents of paperless voting machines are hoping to have their day in court. Now, a Democrat who is contesting her loss in a Florida congressional district is doing her part to have that day in court. Christine Jennings says the number of undervotes that indicates that things went terribly wrong with e-voting machines in her district, and her attorney, Kendall Coffey, began presenting her case at a hearing before a Florida judge today. And we welcome them both to the program. Thanks for being with us. You had a court session. Tell us, just bring us up to speed on where you stand with your legal challenge.
Well, I'm going to let my attorney.
All right, Kendall, go ahead.
Yeah, the experts are before Judge Gary right now, Kitty, presenting evidence on whether or not we're going to get access to the electronic machines and the electronic software. And strikingly, both experts agree that there were 14,000 suppressed votes, 14,000 votes that got diverted in effect, that if they had been counted and if they had been validated, Chris would have won by 3,000 votes. The only controversy is what went wrong, and our testimony shows very significant likelihood of machine failure. That's what we're in court examining right now.
Mm-hmm. You know, Ms. Jennings, according to the official count, your opponent, Republican Vern Buchanan, won the seat by only 369 votes, yet there are 14,000 votes that just didn't turn up. And I guess the theory is that people just didn't vote in that category. You say that's not exactly right. The e-voting machines had raised a lot of questions even before the contest. How much of this is I told you so?
Well, let me say it was 18,000 votes that were the undervotes. And what happened is from day one, day two of early election, 2 weeks prior to Election Day, we started getting calls from people saying that they had a problem getting their vote to take. And it was either when they tried to vote for me or it was on the review screen. So we were getting alarmed as time got closer and held a press conference on Election Day. We were so concerned about this.
Yes, I remember that clearly. Why do you think that election officials did not take that situation seriously?
I have no idea, and I don't understand it myself, because I do know that people called the Sarasota Herald Tribune. I do know that people called the supervisor of elections, but that is one of the things I want to find out is what happened to 18,000 votes that were not counted for this election.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a bit about the case. Your campaign is suing the ES&S company, which actually ran the machines, manufactured the voting machines. And the company is opposed to your request to obtain the source code. They say, most voting machines companies say this is proprietary information. Are you suing to have this open, or what is the exact direction of your case? Let me ask Kendall first.
Well, I'm going to jump in here, Kitty, because what is so critical about this case is where 35% of Floridians, 40% of Americans, and of course the people of Sarasota use these machines. The manufacturers don't want anybody to be looking inside the software at the source code. So we have machines without a paper trail, and yet the manufacturers don't want there to be any outside experts to come in and verify these unverifiable machines. So if Chris weren't bringing this challenge, there would be no opportunity to get these things tested and examined before the 2008 presidential election. So this is very important, not just for Chris in District 13. There is a crisis of confidence among millions of people around the country on whether their votes are counting, and this is the key test case.
Let me read a statement from your office so the viewers have the benefit of it. There's a real crisis in confidence among voters, not just in Florida, but throughout the country. The voters of District 13 deserve answers, but this case has much wider implications beyond Florida. This is a test case for the entire nation. Now, this, of course, is very personal to you. It really hinges on whether you stay in Congress or not. But why do you think that it's important that all of America take notice of this particular situation?
Because people from California to New York have sent me emails, have sent me letters, and encouraged me to keep this fight up. People want to know that their vote counts, and I'm going to do that. This is not about me. This is not about my opponent. This is about the confidence that the voters of this country have in their voting system.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's some are putting, I'm sure you're under a lot of pressure to give up this fight and also to give up your claim to the seat in Congress. How are you responding to that?
I'm really not under pressure for doing that at all. In fact, just the opposite. The support that I have received from people in this country and in my district, it is incredible. And I will tell you, I thought I always knew how important the vote was to each person, but I have been amazed at how much people in this country really do value their vote and their role in participation in their government.
A fellow Democrat has to support you, and that's Nancy Pelosi. Do you think it will come down to a decision that she'll have to make?
I am really hoping that this will be satisfied in the court of Florida. That's where it should be. I will be filing papers tomorrow because I want that protection that it may go to the House. But I am hoping that the court that's now hearing this case will make a decision so that we can have a revote. That's where it should be done.
Kendall, any estimates on how fast it could get through the court system? After all, we're running out of time here.
Well, the court's going to move it as quickly as possible. Realistically, we're not going to have this whole case finished by January, but we are determined to keep going until we get the answers to the questions that not just the people of Sarasota and Chris want answered, but the entire country wants answered.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing it to our attention and making the effort to present it for our audience. It's an issue that's very dear to this program. E-voting was one of the big topics during the campaigns. Thank you very much. Christine Jennings and Kendall Coffey.